Hello and good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this special webinar on function point mapping for QuickBooks Taxes. So I'll give you a quick rundown on what we'll be covering today. We'll be reviewing the integrated accounting aspect of function point and how function point integrates with QuickBooks with respects to taxes. Now this comes with the new update that was released yesterday that addressed a couple of issues and how taxes are brought over and exported from function point into QuickBooks, as well as how are they calculated. So I'll be navigating to the administrative section on the right hand side, selecting integrated accounting, set up QuickBooks integration. So from this page, we'll be selecting the Taxes tab. So let's get started. Now, this particular update was to address an issue that a lot of our US clients were experiencing. So I'll be walking through each of these tabs and just sort of explaining what they cover and what you need to map to successfully export expenses and invoices from function point into QuickBooks. So the first tab is the tax groups to tax codes. Now, these FP tax groups are the tax groups that were created within function point. Now, for example, I've got four main tax groups: county tax, state sales tax, American tax, and no taxes. Now, these tax groups will obviously be different, but these are sort of general examples of what your typical US client would do when it comes to taxes. And the right hand side is the QuickBooks tax codes. Now, these are the tax codes that were created within QuickBooks. So for example, I have Atlanta sales tax, American sales tax, county sales tax, and state sales tax. Obviously, these are the ones that are mapped to the individual FP tax groups. And just a quick reminder, these sales tax codes are the descriptions from QuickBooks and not the actual tax code itself. So I would believe the tax code is a three-letter variation of the tax group name. In function point, you'll be mapping the description. So in this case, you would map, for example, county tax to county sales tax, state sales tax to state sales tax, American tax to American sales tax, and then no taxes and non-taxable sales tax. So once that's complete and you're satisfied with the mapping, simply select Save to save your selections. So we'll be moving on to the next tab, tax to QB accounts, and these for our external expense taxes. There are two sections, function point taxes and QuickBooks accounts. Let's start with the left side. These function point taxes are the taxes that you've created within function point. So for example, I've got three taxes: Atlanta, county, and state. Right hand side is the QuickBooks accounts. Now these are the other current liability accounts that you create within QuickBooks. So from within this page, you'll be mapping this function point tax to the appropriate other current liability account, QuickBooks account. So for example, I've mapped Atlanta to Atlanta sales tax payable, county to sales tax payable. Again, this will differ from person to person or client to client depending on where you're located. The simplistic example I give you is mapping your taxes to a single sales tax payable account. And again, it'll differ for our clients depending on which tax they're charging on an expense and where it would be payable to, or which authority would be payable to. So we'll be moving on to the final tab, and this is the function point tax groups to sales tax items or item groups. Now this particular tab is mostly for batch invoicing. So for example, if you have a list of invoices that you wish to export as a single invoice to QuickBooks, this tab will take care of the tax calculation export. So let's quickly review what we got here. The function point task groups are the tax groups that you've created within function point. And the QuickBooks tax items are the items or tax item groups that you've created within QuickBooks. Now these items are individual line items or tax item groups. And what I mean by tax item groups is essentially a group of taxes that are essentially summed into a single tax group. So for example, I have a tax group called county tax, and that's mapped to a county sales tax line item at 6%. I've got a state sales tax that's mapped to a state sales tax line item at 4%. And I've got an American tax group mapped to a tax item at 10%. Or I can map it to an American sales tax group, since the American sales tax in this particular instance is a summation of state sales tax and county sales tax at 10%. So either or is appropriate. And finally, I've got no taxes mapped to no tax item at 0%. So there you go. This is just a quick review of what you need to do going forward when dealing with taxes and expenses and invoices calculation in Function Point. I just want to quickly review some of the emails I've received regarding with clients who do not charge taxes whatsoever. So what you need to do in order to be successful with mapping in Function Point for new taxes is simply map a no tax tax group to a non-taxable sales tax code. Now I believe this is created by default in QuickBooks, so there's be no additional need for new tax codes unless you need to create new taxes in the future. But by default, simply map a no tax tax group to a non-taxable sales. And finally, select the FP tax groups as sale tax items tab and select a no tax tax group and map it to a no tax item at 0%. And you're good to go. So again, clients who do not charge taxes whatsoever would simply need to map a no tax tax group to a no tax line item at 0% and a no tax tax group to a non-taxable sales tax code. All right, I hope you've enjoyed the webinar. Jeremy will be facilitating questions, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.